This episode of The Casual is brought to you in part by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to all the marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace delivers it in an all-around package so you can build an easy, streamlined, and beautiful online presence. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Reggie Casual, and welcome to the state where we break down street fashion and its culture. And today we're talking Uniqlo and how it essentially tore down the entire old guard of Japanese fashion for better or for worse. That's next. Let's get it. Now, some of you may not know this, but Japan is in a bit of an economic slump and has been for the better part of the last 20 years. People are making less money, spending less, obviously, and being far more practical with their dollars. And that has definitely had an effect on the fashion industry here. And while fashion in Japan is still amazing, any avid follower of the ebb and flow of the Japanese fashion industry knows that things have changed dramatically. Once adventurous styles have been replaced by the contemporary and conservative, and simply looking smart, like well-to-do and presentable, has become the style du jour. Not sure if I said that right, but that's what happened. And while Japanese still have their penchant for individuality and aptitude, the styles of today are a far cry from yesteryear. And with the economy waning since 1998, once major players would step back and one major player would fill that void. Enter Uniqlo. Now, Uniqlo had already been around, but it took the Japanese fashion world by the neck in the early 2000s and never looked back. Its introduction into lifewear, everyday basics at quality and modest pricing cut out a ton of competition, but this most noticeably came at the street level. Think about all the labels that leveled out during Uniqlo's initial onset in the 2000s. That 10-year run. Bape sold to IT, Undercover lost its grip on the Urahara, Mastermind took a hiatus, Bounty Hunter went underground, Neighborhood went the consistent collab route but kinda survived. Even more obscure labels like those appearing in Fruits magazine ultimately ate each other as they jockeyed for space in a market that was far less inclined to buy street fashion labels that were totally out of their price range, especially when Uniqlo was offering up the same thing. On top of that, Uniqlo would employ one of Japanese street fashion's most prominent figures in Nigo to head up their UT department, which ultimately landed collabs with Pharrell, Keith Haring, Basquiat, most recently Verdi, and most notably, KAWS. As such, Uniqlo became so ubiquitous with Japanese fashion that outside of Japan, folks hardly put it in the same category of other stores that shared the same genre of fast fashion, namely H&M, The Gap, and Forever 21. And that's because Uniqlo takes the Japanese route of consistency and timely classics instead of riding whatever trends peak their head. But Uniqlo is still fast fashion on its best day with an added bit of quality control. That's basically what it is. So what we have now is twofold. Japanese are still impeccably dressed, but far more conservative and familiar than in the past. And once storied labels are now going further and further into niche markets, which is increasing their prices, which always prompts the questions from visitors to Japan: why the hell is Japanese fashion so expensive, bruh? Like, Reggie, tell Jesus, I do not want to pay it. Well, it wasn't always so. I mean, they were expensive, but not like how they are today. Most of these labels either had to expand exponentially like Bape, or go smaller and more niche with significantly higher prices like Double Taps, albeit with a more distinct look. I mean, one look at brands like Ready Made, Human Made, Almost Black, and Wacko Maria, all of which are relatively new, ultimately priced out individuals who weren't down with the entire look beyond the occasional t-shirt or collab, which is basically like an entry point to them. What Uniqlo did is took all those fair weather and fringe fans of those styles of yesteryear and converted them. And the only individuals that could sustain the old guard were true followers, diehards, and those who had the money, and tourists. And of course, the renewed interest from those abroad as Japan has become far more accessible than in the past over the years has been a huge boon to these once larger than life labels. I mean, there was a time when Bape was the image of Japanese street fashion. Now it's simply an afterthought to many Japanese who have traded in the loud looks for more subdued takes, mostly coming from Uniqlo. And if a young Japanese fashionista is inclined to go more daring, it's far more likely you'll see them in Off-White, Balenciaga, Rick Owens, Palm Angels, and Fear of God than anything from the golden era of street fashion in Japan. I mean, Uniqlo has even garnered praise and adoration from street fashion blogs and publications, major ones out west due to the aforementioned collabs, not to mention those by J.W. Anderson and the often looked over undercover collaboration, which is butter. Uniqlo has become a behemoth, skirting the line between basics, street, and contemporary, giving an entire generation the fashion it needs and giving just enough of what it wants. Because the reality is, people grow up and quite often priorities change, and far less people in Japan are concerned with showcasing their style than before. They're still around, but Uniqlo has capitalized on people going conservative. And this is not to say Uniqlo is objectively bad. I mean, they do have their share of criticisms, but it has changed fashion in Japan dramatically to a point of no return, it seems. And that's fine for now, but as it becomes even more synonymous with Japanese fashion, the question you may ask soon is, what the hell happened to Japanese fashion? Just a thought. And that's it, but discussion as always. What do you think of the effects of Uniqlo on Japanese street fashion, or just your general thoughts on Uniqlo? Let those be known in the comments. And don't forget to check out our partner Squarespace for your next website or business venture. You can get a free trial plus 10% off once you start simply by using our link in the description. That's squarespace.com/thecasual. And Squarespace will get you started fast with easy to use templates, analytics, email marketing, and even Instagram shop integration for you power users out there. We use Squarespace on our site and the transition was easy, painless, and worth it. So again, use our link squarespace.com/thecasual to get started today. In the meantime, give a thumbs up if you like this video. Follow your boy on Instagram at Reggie Casual and The Casual Official at thecasual.co for exclusive content. We got some exclusive stuff coming out over there, so check that out. そして、まだやっていないなら subscribe 忘れないように. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, but most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international street fashion and culture from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. よろしくお願いします. I'll see you guys in a minute.